Fellow Freedom fans, fellow Freedom fans, David Allen Carmichael, right back here again and loving every minute of it. This is Preservative Talk Radio. I call my show Preservative Talk Radio. And there's a reason for it. I engage the issues of the day from a constitutional basis, a biblical basis, a basis of right versus wrong. I have a toll-free number, but fortunately today for my pocketbook, nobody's calling. Nobody is unstimulating my economy. How about that? But either way, it's a good story. Who'd want to interrupt me anyway? Who'd want to interrupt me anyway? And now, if you were watching online, we do, if you go to Copperhead 1240, you can see this, what I'm doing. I'm going to look at the camera right now, and I'm going to smile because I've been told to smile. I'm smiling. I'm keep smiling. Keep smiling. I am. I'm smiling. Now, and that's over. It's out of my system. But you can go to copperhead1240.com and get a load of what we do. You can see my radio face, but my mother loves me anyway. Today I'm talking about heroes, cowards, and charlatans. Heroes, cowards, and charlatans. If you want to pick up, if I said something that you liked and you think, man, I want my friend to do that, to see that, you can later go to copperhead1240.com, and I did record that segment. I actually did push the right button, which is very important for me. It's a sign of mental health. Before the break, I went and I talked about Wesley Autry from January 2nd, 2007, and he was a hero of the day. He put himself in harm's way for the sake of a stranger. Have you done it? Today, I want to examine heroes, cowards, and charlatans. My wife was telling me today, I was semi-paying attention to the sermon on Sunday at church. And I was doing something else. I was writing up a little outline that I owed one of the elders had asked me for something, and I hadn't done it yet. And it was like one of these things I needed to have done. So instead of listening to the sermon, I should have been listening to the sermon. I was writing out this little outline thing. But my wife was listening, and she said that there was a certain quote in the Bible that they talk about cowards. Did you know the Bible talks about cowards? It's kind of weird. It's kind of interesting. And the context of cowards is kind of troubling. I'm going to read it. Yes, it's commercial talk radio. Who else will get, they don't even read this on religious radio. It's such a scary thing in the Bible that it seems like it's being avoided or evaded, maybe. I'm not really sure. Here are the pages flipping. They make Bible pages so you can hear them flip. I guess it's a way of showing off that you're reading the Bible or something. Here's what it says. It talks about in Revelation 21, it gives a list. Hey, there's paradise waiting for you guys that have got your all stuff straight with the Lord. And that's a paraphrase, and I got to be careful there. It says, he who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. It's good news. Revelation 21:8. But wait, watch this. Again, the theme today is heroes, cowards, and charlatans. Charlotte. Now look at the opposite here. They're going to list the people who, I'm going to read the bottom of this next verse, shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. That's the scary stuff. That's Dante's Inferno. I haven't read Dante's Inferno, by the way, so I got to be careful there. That's the thing. That's bad news. These others that we're going to list here. Now, I'm going to tell you what the list is. And I've never heard this ever read. I've not ever heard this read on religious radio even. It doesn't tickle, And all liars, and all these other, I'm going to tell you what this list is. Shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And I'm going to list everything here except the first thing. The unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. The list of the bad guy. Okay, this is the list that I think everybody is kind of aware of. But look, I didn't read to you the first one on the list. The first one on the list of those people with the lake of fire lakeside property here. But the cowardly, it lists the cowardly first. But the cowardly, the unbelievable, abominable, murderous, sexually immoral, blah, 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 shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire. The cowardly. That's pretty serious stuff here. Today, the theme is heroes, cowards, and charlatans. I think the charlatans are listed in here. They might be unbelieving, abominable sorcerers. Yes, the charlatans. I'll be talk about a sorcerer today, and a liar. I'm going to talk about a liar that shall have their part in the second lake which burns with fire, which is the second death. There's a liar involved with this, particularly Amanda Berry story of the hero, Mr. Charles Ramsey, who heard her cries and said, sure, I'll help. So the cowards, we're going to talk about some cowards. We're going to talk about some charlatans, and we're going to talk about some heroes. So today we know it's in the news that Mr. Charles, what's his name? Okay, here we go. This is where I wrote this. Mr. Charles Ramsey heard a cry coming from his next door neighbor. Now, Mr. Charles Ramsey, he's somebody who he was there and he saw what needed to be done and he did it. And what was great, 911 is great. If you've got, in spite of the ambivalence of the 9/11 people in Cleveland, Ohio, by the way, you might need to have a little bit of courage when you need to overcome the personality of the person answering the phone if you need to dial 911 in Cleveland, Ohio. Keep that in mind where you're traveling, because they weren't very assertive. She ended up having to assert herself and say, no, you need to send a policeman now, not when you get a car open. This is important. She said, I'm the one who's been on the news. So obviously she had access to hearing what was going on in the news for the previous 10 years as people had been talking about her disappearance. So before we talk about the hero, I'm going to talk about a charlatan. A charlatan. We're going to get to the cowards in a minute, but we're getting to the cowards right here. Let's see what this says. Here's an article I found on ABC News, bless their heart. Most of the stuff that I got on the Amanda Berry story came from CBS News, which you listen to here on the Copperhead 1240. Psychic, who said Amanda Berry was dead, is silent after Berry is found alive. Now, this psychic, is it psychic? In this case, is it psychotic? We don't know what it is. We don't know, because there's conflicting information here. Psychic who said Amanda Berry was dead, silent, was dead. The psychic who said she was dead is silent after Amanda Berry is found alive. A year after Amanda Berry disappeared in Cleveland, Ohio, her mother appeared on the Montel Williams show to speak to a psychic, or a purported psychic, about what happened to her daughter. Psychic Sylvia Brown, I'm going to say her name again too. Psychic Sylvia Brown, who announces herself as a psychic by profession, Sylvia Brown. What's her name? Sylvia Brown, the girl of renown, Sylvia Brown. It's important to repeat. So I think it's important that Sylvia Brown become more famous than she ever was before. I think it would be a heroic deed on my part and your part if we would repeat Sylvia Brown's name over and over and over, that the world would know, be so aware of Sylvia Brown, maybe even associate her face with her name, that it would become more and more renowned because of what I see happening here in the lives of real people. Psychic Sylvia Brown, who has made a career of televised psychic readings, told Luana Miller on a 2004 episode of the show that her daughter was dead, causing Miller to break down in tears on the show's set. That's not the only thing that happened in Luana Miller. That's Amanda Berry's mother, causing Miller to break down in tears on the show's set. Wow, that is so exciting for America to see this tense moment where the psychic Sylvia Brown, woman of renown Sylvia Brown, said Your daughter is dead. I am all-knowing Sylvia Brown, the Sylvia Brown of renown. Your daughter is dead, causing Miller to break down in tears on the show set. Today, again, the theme is heroes, cowards, and charlatans. She's not alive, honey. That's a pretty brave thing for Sylvia Brown to say. She's not alive, honey. How sweet, how tender, what a tender moment. This person of renown, Sylvia Brown. She's not alive, honey, Brown told Miller on the show. According to the Cleveland Plain Dealer newspaper, your daughter's not the kind who wouldn't call. Well, that's true. So you took some facts, connected some dots, and figure out what anybody else could figure out. It was a no-brainer. Miller told the newspaper that she believed 98% in what Sylvia Brown, the psychic of renown, told her. Miller died a year later from heart failure. Again, her friends have reported in the news that it was a broken heart. The failure of her heart, yes, had to do with physical ailments. I will, talk to a doctor about people's hope. Talk to a doctor about how important it is to have a will to live. You guys ever see Pollyanna? The movie Pollyanna? There's a book out in the early turn of the century, I guess either before the turn of the century of the 1800s, early 1900s. I think it was 1913-ish or something like that. A book called Pollyanna, where this girl just had she looked at on the bright side of everything, and then she got injured. In the book, it was in a car wreck. On the Disney movie, she fell out of a tree. But in the book, she didn't die of a car wreck. She got injured. She became paralyzed, and she lost hope. And the doctor said, we can do a very good surgery on her, but this attitude she has is not going to help us. We need her to change her focus. And of course, the townspeople got together and encouraged Pollyanna to have the right perspective. And the message there was, it's something that's healthy. But Amanda Berry's mom was stripped of her hope. She believed 98% what the woman of renown Sylvia Brown said. In April 2004, Miller turned to a psychic. There's another story. Said on Montel Williams' nationally syndicated television show, the psychic of renown, Sylvia Brown, said, she's not alive, honey. Your daughter's not the kind who wouldn't call. Brown said she envisioned Amanda's jacket. Now, this is the psychic. Is it psychotic? No, they say right here, they say psychic. Sylvia Brown. It's the word psychic. There's a PSY there, it's CHs and stuff like that. So it's similar. The root word, psych. Is that what she said? Oh, your daughter's not alive, honey. Psych. I'm being facetious. I'm being brash. I'm being brazen. Sylvia Brown, the woman of renown, said she envisioned Amanda's jacket in a dumpster with DNA on it. I don't know. Most people's jackets have DNA. Miller went back to the West Side home where she had been keeping Amanda's things. Now look at the effect of, is again the theme today, heroes, cowards, and charlatans. Miller went back to the West Side home where she had been keeping Amanda's things in careful order and cleaned up. She gave away her daughter's computer and took down her pictures. I'm not even buying my baby a Christmas present this year, she told the local newspaper in Cleveland. So, David Allen Carmichael, Preservative Talk Radio, the theme of the day, heroes, cowards, and charlatans. I'm highlighting one person. You let me know what you think. 888-248-2046. Where does the woman of renown, Sylvia Brown, fall in the category? Hero, coward, or charlatan? There is something, it takes courage to tell somebody the truth, doesn't it? I would say it takes some courage to tell somebody a lie, but maybe let's say chutzpah. I think ultimately the character quality is cowardice and being a charlatan. I think based on this, can I tell you what? I can be sued on this, possibly. But it would have to be proved before a jury, wouldn't it? The reason I would say that I think Sylvia Brown, the woman of renown, is not falling in the category of hero in this. I'm going to do it, everything on a constitutional basis, a biblical basis. Hear that? And the basis of right versus wrong. When you come back, I'm going to see the justification of my sticking my neck out and really giving a highlight, some praiseworthy notice of psychic Sylvia Brown, woman of renown, who confessed to Amanda Berry's mother that Amanda Berry was dead. Come back, stay tuned. Preservative Talk Radio on this Copperhead 1240 AM.